Controversy on the last lap at Daytona. LaJoie and Austin Cindric weren't too happy with each other, and a couple of big-name drivers have cracked the top 10 in my Out of the Groove power rankings. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. All the bad weather this past weekend means we've got a short week ahead. There's no time to waste. We'll break down the latest NASCAR controversies in just a moment. First, this episode is sponsored by my friends at 1821 Man-Made. 1821 offers top-shelf grooming goods for the aspiring gentleman. Inspired by Prohibition-era bootleggers, the 1821 Barrel House empowers men to be the gentlemen they deep down aspire to be through professional-grade grooming products and lifestyle wisdom. Their premium, one-of-a-kind products are best known for their boozy vibe, signature scents, professional-grade performance, and are crafted to suit every need. Head on over to 1821manmade.com to pick up some of these premium products for yourself, and be sure to use code 1821NASCAR for 25% off your entire purchase. Thanks again to 1821 Man-Made for sponsoring the show. Austin Hill is inevitable. Despite losing his teammate in an early crash and sustaining some significant right front damage himself, Austin Hill was able to win his third Xfinity Series race at Daytona last night. 3 wins, he's halfway to collecting all the Infinity Stones. Five of Austin Hill's 7 Xfinity Series victories have come at superspeedway style tracks. Utterly ridiculous. Another big story I was following late last night was Shane Van Gisbergen making his Xfinity Series debut. He qualified 5th, was involved in a couple of incidents, managed to come home 12th, and was actually visited by NASCAR President Steve Phelps on pit road after the race. SVG had a smile on his face afterwards when he spoke to reporter Matt Weaver. Van Gisbergen said, quote, "Once I settled in, I really enjoyed the flow of it. I made one error with the 27 getting up. I misjudged how quickly it side drafted him back, and unfortunately I spun him out. This style of racing is still racing, but it's not any kind of racing I'm used to." He did say that he had fun. He also said he wished he'd get some practice time before having to qualify at Atlanta next week. But overall, despite the run-ins with Jeb Burton, I thought Shane Van Gisbergen did fairly well in his Xfinity Series debut. Actor turned race car driver Frankie Muniz made his Xfinity debut as well last night. Unfortunately got caught up in a crash before halfway, finished 33rd, but told Front Stretch afterwards that his next Xfinity race will be at Phoenix in a couple of weeks, so we won't have to wait long to see Frankie Muniz back behind the wheel of an Xfinity Series car. That's it for the Xfinity Series season opener. I do have a couple more points I'd like to make about the Daytona 500. For one, I barely touched on this in my video last night, but for the past 24 hours, the internet has been ablaze. Did Alex Bowman get robbed? Was William Byron really out front when the caution flag waved? To defend the fans for a moment, Fox did not show a great synced up camera angle on the broadcast, but earlier today NASCAR released this photo which clearly shows the white number 24 ahead of the purple 48 with yellow lights blinking along the catch fence. When watching the replays in real time, it looked to me like William Byron was likely out front, so I never really questioned it, but hopefully that photo helps confirm that NASCAR made the correct call. William Byron was out front when the caution lights blinked on. I know many fans were extremely disappointed and frustrated that the race finished under caution for the second year in a row, myself included. I would much rather see a green flag finish, guys making moves out of turn 4, side drafting to the start finish. That'd be much more exciting, no doubt. But I'm going to defend NASCAR officials in this instance. I have no problem with when they threw the caution last night. I believe that the reason NASCAR wasn't quicker on the trigger is because they hoped the 2 cars that went spinning were going to continue spinning off into the grass away from the racing groove. And if that had happened, I think NASCAR would have left it green, let them race all the way back around unless those 2 cars got stuck in a dangerous spot. But because those 2 cars eventually began sliding up into traffic once again, NASCAR had no choice but to hit the button, and by that point they'd already crossed the start-finish line. I've watched the replay a number of times now. I have zero issue with the timing. It's frustrating, yes, I would much rather have seen a green flag finish, but I understand what NASCAR officials were thinking in that moment. I have no issue with how they reacted. And y'all know me, in the past I have had no issue criticizing NASCAR race control. But in this instance, I think they handled it about as best as they could. But that wasn't the only late race controversy Monday night. Corey LaJoie and Austin Cindric blamed each other for that last lap crash. You look at the replay here, look at that bottom line, it happens pretty quick, but you see Cindric's car get sideways, go up into Chastain, that's what triggers the incident. Cindric, speaking to reporters after he was released from the infield care center, blamed Corey LaJoie for the incident. He said, quote, "Corey finished 4th, so congrats. He tried to fit a car where there wasn't a car and continued to push through my left rear until I wrecked." The 2022 Daytona 500 champion was not happy. Corey LaJoie on pit road after the race was told that Cindric wasn't happy with him, and this was LaJoie's response, quote, "It's the last lap. I've seen him do a lot of dumb things, and we're not friends, so that's that." Ooh, some short track spice served up at a super speedway. Let's take a closer look at this incident. Corey LaJoie's right. It is the last lap, effectively, of the Daytona 500. I don't fault him for being aggressive, but if you look at the move, LaJoie had an opportunity to commit to the inside. He never did. He left like 3 or 4 feet between the left side of his car and the double yellow line. LaJoie admitted to this on pit road afterwards. He did say that he kind of made a lazy move. Cindric made a lazy block. That's how they came together. So LaJoie admits that he never really committed to making the move. He was kind of wishy-washy, still trying to play both lanes. Cindric maybe came down a tiny bit, but because LaJoie was so far off the double yellow line, of course they were going to make contact. I really don't put that on Austin Cindric all that much. Corey LaJoie was an aggressive pusher all week long. We saw in the truck race Friday night, Corey LaJoie was relentless. He was all up in everyone's business, it seemed, and perhaps maybe triggered a wreck or two, at least in my opinion. So it's hard for me to give Corey the benefit of the doubt here. If I were to put more blame on one driver or another, I'd put more blame on the 7 of LaJoie. I think Cindric had a right to be frustrated. Now he has, as LaJoie mentioned, he has made bad moves in the past. I mean, go back to when he won the Daytona 500. He had to kind of slam the door on his teammate, force his teammate up into the wall to secure the victory. So it's not like Cindric is squeaky clean. He's made his own aggressive moves late in these super speedway races, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to be frustrated with how Corey LaJoie raced him coming to the white flag. That's my take on the incident. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Hate that this crash ultimately ended the Daytona 500 a lap early. Now, there were a couple of bombshell reports this past weekend regarding NASCAR and the team's ongoing charter and revenue negotiations. I think I'll save that topic perhaps for tomorrow, for a video later this week. There are a lot of quotes, a lot of details to try and sift through. Instead, I want to wrap up this Tuesday episode of Out of the Groove with the latest edition of my weekly Out of the Groove Power Rankings. These spots are reserved for the top 10 drivers and teams in the Cup Series right now, in my opinion. Now, this is tricky because the only 2 races we've run so far were at a stadium-sized short track and a super speedway. We haven't seen these guys race at any traditional short tracks or intermediates or road courses, so keep that in mind. I'm sure this list is going to change quite a bit over the next few weeks. 2 drivers that didn't quite make the cut this week, some honorable mentions. Chris Buescher fell out of my top 10 this week because he just didn't show up. He won at Daytona last August, he was in contention in the 500 last year, didn't lead a single lap last night, and finished 20th. Another driver that fell out of my top 10, unfortunately, is Martin Truex Jr. He wasn't bad this week. Super speedways have never really been his thing. He finished 15th, but a couple of the drivers who broke into the top 10 just had exceptional weekends compared to Truex, so someone had to get bumped out. Let's start with number 10. Welcome Alex Bowman. 6th in the Clash, 2nd in the Daytona 500. Is he finally 100% healthy? Because if he is, shoot, like I said all offseason, a 100% healthy Alex Bowman is absolutely a playoff driver. Great start to this year. At number 9, give me his teammate, Chase Elliott. Now, he finished 4th in the Daytona 500, worse than Alex Bowman, but he did win a stage, and he didn't potentially cause the huge wreck with 10 laps to go. Remember, Chase Elliott may not have won a race last year, but the 9 car still made it into the owners' playoffs, and Chase Elliott wheeled that thing to a 10th place points finish. I think Chase will be just fine this season. At number 8, give me Kyle Busch. In many ways, Kyle Busch was the show Monday night. He led 12 laps, finished 12th, but had to go go from the back to the front multiple times, his pit crew let him down repeatedly. 3 crucial mistakes that, if they occurred in any other type of track, would have ruined Kyle Busch's race. Kyle Busch was second at the Clash. He's shown us these first couple races that he's still in his prime. He is still elite. The pit crew needs to get it together. At number 7, I'll go with the other Kyle Larson. Look, all things considered, he had a pretty solid speed weeks by his standard. Another driver who's not a fan of super speedway style racing finished 11th, I believe, in the 500. That's not bad at all. Unfortunately, Atlanta is on deck, a rough 1-2 punch to start the year for Kyle Larson. Let's get to the West Coast swing, then I'm sure Kyle Larson's gonna crack my top 5 before long. At number 6, I'll go Tyler Reddick. I was disappointed that he didn't lead any laps in the Daytona 500, but he did win his dual race on Thursday. He still had a great playoff run late last season. I believe Tyler Reddick will have a great 2024. I've got him at position number 6. Flying up my power rankings this week is Joey Logano at number 5. He was fast at the Clash at the Coliseum, led laps, finished 4th, rolls into the 500, wins the pole Wednesday night, led 45 laps in the Daytona 500, was battling for the win when he got caught up in a crash by no fault of his own. We're going to Atlanta this next weekend, a race that Logano is the defending winner of. That's all why he's flying up my power rankings for now. I still want to see what that 22 can do at the more traditional ovals and road courses coming up. Put Christopher Bell in the number 4 spot. He had a fantastic speed weeks. For not being a super speedway ace, he won his dual race on Thursday night and finished 3rd in the Daytona 500. He led 22 laps Monday night. We know he's been to back-to-back championship 4s. I think Bell is going to have another fantastic year. People keep acting like he's an underdog. He's not an underdog anymore. He's a legitimate championship favorite, in my opinion. My top 3 haven't changed too much these last couple weeks. I still have Denny Hamlin in 3rd. Won the Clash a couple weeks ago. He was good at Daytona. Maybe not his typical dominant Denny self, but still good. Hamlin's gonna have a great year. He's in 3rd. Ryan Blaney comes in 2nd. The defending champion went from last to 3rd in the Clash a couple weeks back. He crashed out of the 500 by no fault of his own, but he did win a stage with a slick last lap pass at the end of stage 2. I think my preseason power rankings were pretty much spot on. At number 1, once again, is William Byron. Fresh off a great all-around 6-win 2023 season, William Byron is now a Daytona 500 champion. He's leading the points. Can't ask for much more than that. So there you go, my latest Out of the Groove power rankings. You can also see in gray how their position has changed since my last power rankings video I did after the Clash. Joey Logano from 10th to 5th, perhaps the biggest mover. Although both Bowman and Elliott were unranked 2 weeks ago, they've cracked my top 10. Let's see if they stay there. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with any of my rankings. Do you think I put your favorite driver in the correct spot? Let me know down in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR every single day, all year long. And a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. I'll be back again tomorrow. Wanted to focus on the on-track controversies today. Tomorrow, we'll talk about charters and maybe some off-track controversy. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'll catch you in the next episode.